Hi, LAC 480, Senior Seminar, Week 4 for the Fall 2018 semester. Glad you're hanging in there. We're going to start getting a little bit busy now. So, this week, for Week 4, we're going to look at the work that's here, and it's not a lot of work here, okay? So before you see all of this, don't panic, except if you're looking at this on Friday night next week, then you should panic. Alright, so you're going to be starting to collect some research for your paper. Well, you don't even have a topic yet, or you don't even have a hypothesis. Wait a minute, what's a hypothesis? Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Alright, before you jump off the bridge, make sure your papers are all in order so that we don't have to find everything in a mess. But you shouldn't jump off the bridge yet, okay? In fact, you shouldn't jump off the bridge, sorry, in case you're thinking of that. I digress. So, the thing that you're going to be doing this week is for discussion number 4. And you're going to read Easy Rider, which is section 13A to 13D. And you have already read this. Oh, yes, you have already read this. I know you've read this carefully. But you're going to read it carefully-er. Alright? Just made a new word. And you're going to go to page 73 of the text and fill out the formulating a research question and hypothesis outline. You're going to find 5 books that are related to your research question. You're going to describe each source. Then you're going to talk about your working thesis. Okay? And I'll tell you what you attach. So let me tell you what you're going to be doing. So you're going to be reading the Easy Rider from pages 72 to 78, which is section 13A to 13D. And it's about conducting research. So let me go to a sheet that I made, and you're going to be doing some reading similar to the reading you've done in the first couple of weeks that I gave you, such as the Birmingham letter and the ACLU letter and so on. So now, and I've given you some feedback on what I'm expecting in terms of your reading and writing when you look at research articles. So you're going to be reading a lot of books or journals or whatever. Probably journals more than books because of your time factor. So you don't want to waste time reading articles that are not appropriate to your topic. Focus on journal and peer-reviewed articles. Try to avoid something from BuzzFeed or 50 Ways That You're Like the Turtle or other animals or amphibians or anything like that. Focus on some high-level research articles, and I'll show you how you can get some besides going to the library and talking to Maureen or going online to the library. I'm going to open up a page here, and I'm just going to write in Google Scholar. Alright, and there's Google Scholar. So let's see, I want something on social justice, and look at all the possible things here. So let's see, education. These are books and journals, and you can sort. Now, I will tell you that your resources should not be more than 5 years old. I will say that about maybe about 72 times to each of you. So make sure they're not older than 5 years old. And there are exceptions, like if it's a historical book that gives you the basis of your topic, that's fine. But when you're looking at some hard data, let's say that you're looking at crime rates. Well, if it's more than 5 years old, there are better crime rates now that you should be using. So try to be up to date with your data. So these are some of the topics I just put with social justice and education, and you can certainly start customizing and putting it by the relevance. And you can also go on to finding PDF documents. Sometimes journals are available only if you're a paid member of an organization. Avoid that. You don't need to do that. You have better things to do with your money, like buy me chocolate. So that's what you're going to be doing, and you're going to be looking at. So I'm going back to the sheet here, and you're going to, if you use the internet, you will make sure your sources are legitimate, part of an organization like the American Medical Association, the Census Bureau, the Pew Foundation, and so on. And this field research will be in your book. Avoid field research, because if you're dealing with human beings, you need to have your paper approved by the IRB, which is the review board, internal review board for USM, and that'll take some time. You don't want to be doing that. So just gather your data from the internet. And so make sure that like I said, you want to complete this paper this semester. If you were doing a master's thesis, then you would be doing something like that. That would be fine. You'd have some time. You'd have maybe a whole year to do that. So again, going back to this bullet, concentrate on the information, the data, and the facts provided in the journals or books you read. Right? So going back to the discussion, and so the discussion will be next thing is find 5 books or articles that are based on your research question. So here we go. How do we get a research question? So this is that page. So you're going to fill this out and send it to me. Actually, you're going to post it on Blackboard. This is one of the things. A general topic, and you'll see in your book it's farming. Okay, they give you an example, and they narrow it down. And what's the problem? So if you put social justice and education, in the narrow topic, you can say the differences between public schools in inner cities and urban schools. Are all schools, even in Maine, our schools in the rural areas getting the same amount of money and resources as the schools in the more upper class districts. That could be the issue, and you start narrowing it down. What's your research question? What's your hypothesis? Then you're going to be working on a thesis, okay? So you're going to pass this in by next week. So this is what you're working on. I'm forcing you to work on it, okay? This is on that page. Go back to the page here. It says, so go back to page 73 and write a working thesis, a paragraph sufficient. Look at the example in the book, all right? So the things that you're going to pass in are the formulating the research question right there, okay? And hypothesis, and then you're going to go back and that's what you're going to be posting, and the descriptions are your 5 possible sources. So go back to here. 4, describe each source. I don't need a whole page for each one. Is it peer reviewed? If it's a website, and cite this in APA. Start practicing APA format, okay? And Maureen will look at them if she has time, and I will look at them because I have the time. And so that's what you're going to be doing. So you're going to be talking about these 5 sources. And then you're going to be taking the week after that, finding 5 more sources. You're building up your resources. Get it, folks? I thought you would. So this thing here, the formulating research question, the descriptions are your first 5 possible sources. You might throw them out. Are due by Friday, September 28. And you're going to respond to a student by October 3, 2018. One more thing before you go to the refrigerator. These are the things I noticed from your first few papers. Want you to, and I've written some feedback, write declarative sentences. And this, I copied this right from, I just put declarative sentences in Google, and this is what I got. So I just copied it. So you can do the same thing. The next thing is write in the third person. A few of you are still having issues on what it means to be writing in the third person. If you're writing declarative sentences, you're pretty well going to be writing in this voice as well. So when you use the pronouns I and me, you're starting to be part of the thesis. You're part of the research, and we don't want you. You are an observer. You are a reporter. You are reporting the facts. That's all you're doing, all right? And I know you want to be writing, oh, it's such a wonderful paper, and boy, it was a bit biased, and so on. No, we don't care about that. Give us the facts from this paper, because that's what you're going to be doing for your resources. Don't use flowery adjectives. This is a great paper. What a fabulous person. This is an interesting topic. What an awful teacher. And he's fantastic, and so on. No. Sorry. Save that for a writing class. Sorry, but that's the nature of academic writing. Again, focus on the facts. And citing quotes in APA. Look at the APA site I gave you. Purdue OWL is the best place to go online or in your book. Sometimes people, for instance, had this problem. Always use the author's last name, so it's like Field, 2005. And if you quote, this was very often that I saw this. If you direct quotations from the article, then you have to put the page number, okay? And so for sources such as websites and ebooks that had no page numbers, you use a paragraph number, okay? So that's what some of the people had a problem with. So when you notice the period always comes after. So if you wrote a sentence and you put a citation, the period becomes right at the end, not period there and then you go at the end. So that's a couple other things that you can brush up before you write your final paper. And for your references in APA, If your reference extends past the first line, every line after should have a hanging indent. Look it up. And the equivalent of 1 tab space. Okay, so there were a few issues on that as well. So that's this week. So again, let me just go and do that one more time. You're passing in the research question, hypothesis sheet, and your working thesis, and you're passing this in. All right? And then the next thing you're passing is the descriptions of your 5 possible sources, and this is how you do it right here. Okay, I'll even highlight it so that you can be enamored by the situation. I don't even know what I'm saying. Okay, so I hope you have a good weekend, and I'm looking forward to seeing the work starting towards your paper.